beginning to go like Pazu. It's snowing! Hey Ferret fam, welcome back to my channel. Today we have a story time for you. It's not about Pazu, it's actually about Howl. Oh, Appa, really? Because we have had a super rough week because of this guy, and I wanted to talk about what I noticed with him, what we had to get done at the vet, talk a little bit about something that isn't commonly talked about in the ferret community. I'm actually gonna put him down because he's really annoyed, but I'll just show you what we had noticed on him. You might be able to still see it. We found a mass on his neck. It's like right here. You might notice it's a little bit bulged out a little bit. He still has it. And I'm also going to be posting the blog post that goes along with this video that goes into detail because I'm not running on a script or anything. I might miss things. Talks all about his symptoms, how much the vet bills were. The other day we noticed that he wasn't really acting himself. He had just recovered from a nasty pharyngitis infection that also gave him conjunctivitis. So he has had a really rough shedding season. We think that it was a lot of hair. It was irritating his throat, and it just turned into something really nasty. Because none of us are sick, none of the other ferrets are sick. We don't know of anyone who is sick that could have gotten him sick, and so on. So we noticed that he wasn't really himself. He wasn't eating. Normally he would eat pieces only if I hand fed him, and they had to be really small. They couldn't have any bones in them. He was just really reluctant to eat. He was very sleepy, but then again, so were all of my other ferrets. So it's really hard to tell when one is more sleepy than normal, and just something didn't feel right. So I noticed later on in the day when I was petting him, this mass on the base of his throat, at his chest, like the shoulder area. I immediately went to go touch the other ferrets at the same spot to see if I was just, you know, crazy or whatever, but none of them had anything remotely to what he had. Didn't feel right. I immediately, you know, thought that it was a tumor. Just the spot that it sit was kind of like his shoulder area lymph nodes, because they do have lymph nodes here, under their armpit, their leg, and I thought I felt them on each of those areas, which I found out later it was just fat. And I immediately took him into the car. We drove about an hour away to the closest emergency vet, and they had a ferret vet on staff that night, and we waited for what felt like forever. It was a really, really long night, and the emergency vet didn't notice anything bad. He checked all of his organs, they looked good. He just made sure that he was stable for the night and would be able to wait for his vet appointment the following day. And I was a little bit disappointed. I wish that they had done some sort of testing, like aspirating the mass, which is just, you know, taking a needle and testing the fluid at the very least, so I could, you know, sleep and not freak out. Thought he felt a swollen lymph node at the back of his leg. It wasn't something that he's seen before. He was really unfamiliar with it. Just really didn't give us any answers, but I'm happy that we found out that he was stable and would be okay overnight. We took him in the following day. We had to wait until 4 o'clock, and we were just really freaking out, you know. I was telling my family, you know, preparing for the worst, because I mean, he is a martial ferret, and a lot of the times they are very prone to cancers, other, you know, genetic things, because their breeding is so poor. And he is at the age where it could be either juvenile lymphoma and adult lymphoma, and juvenile lymphoma being the worst one. It's very aggressive, and I was just preparing for both of these. And the only other things that it could have been, when you Google like lump on my ferret's neck, is, you know, swollen lymph nodes, which are commonly caused by cancer. I thought maybe, you know, he was dealing with the tail end of his infections that he had. Could be thymoma, which is similar to lymphoma, just with the thymus, because that is where the mass was as well. And what else did I think it was? That's pretty much it. That's all that really comes up. The thing that it was, of course, did not pop up at all when I was searching, and that's why it's kind of what sparked my interest in making this video in the blog post that I highly encourage that you read, because it's going to go into more detail of what we experienced. That's why I wanted to talk about seromas. So I brought him to the vet, and he was only there for like 20 minutes before he called me and had said that it appeared to be a seroma. And this will happen sometimes when ferrets are roughhousing with each other, and you know, they bite each other's neck, they drag each other around, and he must have just gotten bit so well in like a really bad spot that the skin was able to detach from the muscles, and the tissue was damaged, blood vessels were damaged, and it created this empty space cavity in this area. And because the body does not like empty spaces, it naturally filled itself up with fluid, and the vet was able to remove like 3 syringefuls of just fluid out of this mass. It was still there when we picked him up, but it was much smaller, and it is still, he still has it. And he said that we probably wouldn't have to worry. It didn't look cancerous. He couldn't feel any tumors or any abnormalities, but we did send the fluid out to get it tested just in case. Even though seromas are not linked to cancer, they're usually 2 totally separate entities, but we just wanted to get it done just in case. A lot of vets are kind of iffy on whether you should, you know, drain them. But please, being really annoying. Again, for every single video, you have to just destroy things. Why? And bite my feet. Anyways, because, you know, constantly draining it isn't going to do much. It should heal on its own. And once those tissues and blood vessels repair themselves, they will stop filling up. So that's what we're hoping is going to happen. The vet did say that there is a possibility that it was damaged enough to the point of where he would need surgery to close that up, so it doesn't keep filling back up, but it doesn't look like he's going to need that, thankfully. But even if he did, I would take that, you know, 100 times over a cancer diagnosis. But it is, if it does fill up again, it's not the end of the world. It's actually wouldn't be super abnormal for it to just fill right back up again due to the nature of what it is, a seroma. So if it's not completely healed yet, it will just keep filling back up with fluid, and that's not necessarily a bad thing unless it gets infected, which we know the signs to tell that it becomes infected, and then we'll get him checked out again. But for right now, it looks like just a seroma, and oh my gosh, it was like the worst couple days of my life, Brian's life. We were, you know, in a really, really bad headspace. We were expecting the worst, and I don't think that it was, you know, completely invalid and uncalled for, because his symptoms did line up so closely to lymphoma. Brings me to my last point. If you notice a lump on your ferret, always get it checked out. You know, don't just watch this video and then go, oh, it could just be a seroma, I'm not going to get it checked out. Don't do that. I just wanted to shed light on something that I didn't really see a lot in my ferret research. I knew what seromas were on dogs and whatnot, and it usually happens during like spay surgeries and other surgeries. I don't think that it's a common thing at all. I think that he just got, you know, bit really, really good in the wrong spot, and it just happened. So yeah, if you do find a lump on your ferret, 100% bring them to the vet. And it doesn't, you know, negate the fact that there are so many ferrets all over that suffer from lymphoma due to poor breeding and other reasons, and my heart goes out to everyone who has to deal with that. But I am very grateful and thankful that it is just a minor seroma, even though all of his symptoms lined up with cancer. So we were really just, it was bad. But anyways, that's all I really wanted to talk about today, because we did get the results back today finally after like a grueling 5 days of waiting, and they could not find any cancerous cells, no fungi, nothing like that. They said they can't completely rule it out, but I think they say that just, you know, to cover their butts in case they, you know, in case it does end up being bad, which we all highly doubt is going to happen. I think that he is pretty much out of the woods now. We're just going to keep an eye on that lump and go from there. But anyways, thank you guys for watching so much. Thank you to our channel members. And again, if you are a member, you would have already known that all of this went down, because I do weekly kind of like journal entries on my YouTube community page for my members. You do have to become a loyal member or higher, so it's not the lowest tier, it's the mid tier and the high tier. If you want access to all of my journal entries, I do them weekly, again, like I said. So check that out if that's something that you're interested in, and I will see you guys in my next video. Do not forget to read the blog post I have all about seromas down below. Thanks guys, bye.